Hey guys, I'm Megan from Ormon Fitness, and this video will go over how to self-assess yourself for a diastasis recti. So if you haven't heard the term diastasis recti before, it is a separation of your abdominal wall, that outermost layer of your abdomen, of your abdominal muscles. It usually is occurring with pregnancy, but does not have to. It is normal during pregnancy and allows for your baby to grow within your belly. And then what happens if you are diagnosed with a diastasis in postpartum is that tissue that runs from your sternum down to your pubic bone in between your rectus abdominals, that tissue, that linea alba, is actually stretched and thinned, and we need to create some more tension there so that it's able to hold all of the pressure in your abdominal cavity without staying stretched and thin and causing some different core and pelvic floor complications afterwards. So what we do to self-assess is we're going to go ahead and lie down on your back. Roll up your shirt if you are comfortable doing this. Hopefully you're at home or somewhere you can be comfortable, and you can roll down your shorts or your pants as well. What you are going to do is make sure that you can feel your abdomen above and below your belly button. So what you can do is just take a couple fingers and just go ahead and feel into your abdominal wall. Feel if you feel any possible hernia areas, maybe a break in that tissue. Does everything kind of feel normal? There's no pain when you're applying pressure to any of the areas here, all the way down that midline, above and below your belly button. And what you want to do when you start your assessment for diastasis is laying on your back, feet flat on the floor. You're going to tuck your chin and raise your head, okay? And keep your shoulders on the ground. That's the hardest part. It's not a crunch, okay? It's just a chin tap and lift. And you're going to go ahead and take those same fingers and feel along your abdominal wall. Do you feel the two sides of your rectus abdominals or your six-pack muscles here? Do you feel those two sides, and do you feel that tissue in the middle? How far? I was lifting my shoulders there. You don't want to do that. So if you feel your shoulders come off the ground and you start to crunch a little, just lay back down, tuck that chin, lift the head. Feel in that middle. What does that feel like? How many finger widths are in between your abdominal muscles there? It's hard to talk and keep your chin up at the same time. How many fingers can you feel down in there? And what does it feel like when you're pressing into that tissue in between your abdominal muscles? Is it taut? Can you not really press your fingers down far in there? Or can you press your fingers pretty far down into that abdominal wall? What we're looking for is tension. So it's not necessarily about how many fingers you can fit in between your abdominal muscles, although that is important information to know. But more important is how far can you sink your fingers in there. If that tissue is very tight and you can't sink your fingers down into your abdominal wall, into that tissue very far, then that is what is most important when we're considering functions of daily living, and whether your abdomen, whether your muscles and that linea alba tissue can hold the load, the exercises, the activities of daily living that you're placing upon it. So again, just tuck that chin, lift the head, feel again. This may take a couple times. Just note what you're feeling, how tight it feels, and then what you want to do is be able to gain tension. If you don't have enough tension to start with, you want to be able to gain tension. So what you can do is practice that connection breath that we talked about in another video. You can try that here, that nice deep inhale. Exhale. On the exhale, tuck the chin, lift the head, and feel that abdominal wall again. Is it more tight? Is there more tension there? How far do your fingers sink in? Can you feel, how many fingers can you fit in between that abdominal wall? You may have to try it just a couple times. And again, the most important part is to be able to tuck that chin and just lift the head. If you feel like your shoulders are crunching up as well, then lay back down, take another deep breath, and reassess. So what you want to do is make sure that you can tell how many fingers you can fit in between the rectus abdominal muscles there. And then more important than how many fingers wide the gap is how far you can sink those fingers down into that linea alba tissue. So again, jot any notes down that you need to, and then as you're working on tensing up that linea alba, as you're working on engaging your transverse abdominals and hopefully adding load and strength into that linea alba, then you should feel that your linea alba, after a few weeks, and you check again, you should feel that your linea alba is becoming more tense and tight depending on the type of exercises that you're doing. Again, what's most important with diastasis is not necessarily how wide the gap is, although that's good information to know, but more importantly is how tense that linea alba tissue is when you're feeling alongside it. And then make notes of whatever it feels like without the connection breath and then with the connection breath, because without is always going to be a little bit softer. But what's important is that you want to be able to gain tension in that linea alba when you need it in response to the load. And that's what the connection breath is going to help you feel. What is normal in postpartum and throughout daily life is a 2-finger gap in between those rectus abdominis muscles. You're always going to have some sort of gap there because that's how your muscles are structured. There are 2 sides of your rectus abdominis, and that tissue, that linea alba, runs in the middle. So there's always going to be a gap there because that's where the tissue is. Anything 2 fingers or less is not considered a diastasis, although we still want to make sure that that linea alba is nice and tense and tight to be able to hold the load in your abdominal cavity. But anything less is not considered a diastasis. So if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to help you answer them, and good luck, guys.